Hello and welcome to the Critically Clueless. Today we are in Empire of Sin and it has finally happened. The free DLC or the free update Precincts has finally hit Empire of Sin, and if you are loading up for the first time you should see this little message and it will let you know basically that the Precincts is a part of your game right now. It will also advise you that is to start a brand new game, as some of the features won't fully work if you load up an old game. So this video is all about the Precinct update, my first thoughts, what I kind of noticed playing it, and what hopefully you guys can look forward to when you very first load up the game. And of course, if you haven't got Empire of Sin, well, today is the absolute perfect time to do so, because not only do we have a brand new update which just changes the game completely, we also have another DLC that we can buy as well. And of course, for all those people looking for more Empire of Sin content, why don't you think about hitting that subscribe button, because over the next few days, over the next few weeks, we are going to be turning out a lot of Empire of Sin combat. Now, one of the first things I noticed loading into the game, picking my boss, this is before buying the DLC. This is the free DLC, so this is only all about the precincts. But one of the first things I noticed is that all of the bosses, their abilities have changed slightly. A couple of their abilities have been nerfed, a couple of their abilities have been buffed, and they all seem to have an extra brand new ability all relating to your precincts. So that's kind of cool. So now you can pick your boss based on the ability that you like that's kind of buffing your precincts, because of course this game is now all about your precincts. So yeah, that's kind of interesting. Anyway, we went with Frank Reagan for this playthrough. As you can see, when we load in, our area is in purple, and you can see these our area is a solid line, and then immediately around that is a dotted line. Well, they're the little precincts for us to expand into. Every part of the neighborhood, every neighborhood now is in a precinct, and of course you have to control the precincts to actually own any of the rackets. So a major change is you can't just take over a racket no more. You've got to take over the actual entire precinct itself, and every precinct is guarded by a depot, and that depot is going to be very tough. In fact, as you just saw, it will get reinforcements per round for every building inside the precinct area that's actually buffing the depot. So every single racket that used to be, say, inside that box, that's all supplying guards to the depot. So your job really is to take out those rackets, reduce those number of reinforcements, and then you can take over the depot. However, you cannot just expand all willy-nilly anymore. So as you can see, I've just gone off into another neighborhood because you can just do that. There's other taxis around. This is the first little precinct right next to a taxi stop, and I can't take over this precinct because it's not right next to my buildings. Even though I can start a war with a faction here, even though I can kill the guards outside, once I'm done with that combat, even though I'm at war with this faction, I can't attack their building and weaken their depot or attack their depot. I think that's a very interesting it's a very interesting way that they've changed Empire of Sin. So you really have to plan out your attacks now, plan out your expansion, and really put a little bit more focus in how it is that you're actually expanding your empire. And I really like that. I think that's a nice touch, and it's going to be interesting to see just how well the game plays now. I think the game's going to play a little bit slower because we're going to have to methodically think about our expansion, make sure we actually get good areas, maybe even take over a whole neighborhood, because obviously beforehand we didn't have to do that. But now it may well be worth taking over the entire neighborhood and having every single racket actually under our control. Whereas before, like I just said, we didn't actually have to do that. There was no real point in doing so. If I wanted to go into that neighborhood, as you can see, I would have to get this supply line connecting me to the next neighborhood. And to do that, I'm going to have to take over the precinct near that supply line. So as you can see now, like I said, you really do have to plan out your expansion. I think it works quite well, actually. Of course, you could just straight on attack a depot right next to you to, quickly take out a precinct over and done with. However, you're going to have to be extremely powerful to do that because, as we mentioned earlier in the video, these precincts are being buffed and defended by the neighboring rackets. So if you haven't taken out those rackets, that means every single round you're going to be coming up against more and more reinforcements. And of course, you're going to have to try and kill all of those guards before those reinforcements come, and to kind of do that. So you're going to have to be very powerful to be able to do that. The easier way to do it, of course, take out all the rackets. Once you've taken out all the rackets supporting the depot, that means there's no reinforcements, meaning you only have to take out one building and one set of troops, which you already know about even going in. And of course, you can zoom out and highlight the building, highlight the depot, just to make sure that you've taken out all those little rackets before you actually committing to the attack. And as we can see, I've taken out all those extra little rackets. I have ransacked them, so when I attack them, you no longer own them afterwards. You kind of ransack them, you get some goodies, and they kind of close down for a period of time. And then, of course, you're able to attack the depot. Once that's done, you will be greeted with a nice little screen letting you know that you've done a good job. You'll get some more goodies, of course. And then you'll get an option. You can either sack the precinct or you can take it over. Now, if you sack it, it actually tells you the rewards that you're going to get. If you highlight that, I actually really like that. I kind of, it means it's not kind of open to chance. You can actually see what you're going to get. However, I've chosen to take it over for the benefit of this video. And when you do take it over, you can choose which rackets you want to set up. If you get the new DLC, you'll be able to put loan sharks down as well. But I just think it's a very nice, clean way to actually set up your empire. And for instance, you don't kind of inherit a load of rackets that you don't necessarily want, which was my playstyle. Before this update, I would kind of keep whichever racket was already there. But as you can see here, now I have to buy my rackets in, meaning I'm not going to have rackets that I no longer want. I also like the ability to name my racket. I think that's pretty cool. There's a new tab on the wheel where you can actually see your precinct overview. So you'll be able to see there the different types of precincts you've got. And as you can see, now we've got our second precinct, our little area, our solid purple lines. They've decided to get a little bit bigger. Now you can see our empire's starting to expand, and now we'd be able to decide where to go next. I did actually notice the buyout feature as well. There is buyouts now, so if a gang is bugging you so much and you've got a lot of cash, then you're able to actually buy them out. However, you do have to have positive relation. You do have to have a protection deal over them for 3 months. And it is not going to be cheap. It's going to be rather expensive. But if you do it, that gang do just pack their bags and leave town. So it's a really nice, interesting way that you can potentially win the game. You can potentially win the game through peace now, which beforehand was not possible at all. Another little feature I liked is the ability to make an improvement slot. And within those improvement slots, you've got a number of different bonuses that you can give to your precinct, buffing it up. That's on top of your boss ability as well, buffing up your precincts. So I really like the idea of these precincts. They're really making them feel very overpowered in certain cases. Some of these features, some of these abilities are quite nice as well. However, bear in mind, before you do get these improvement slots, you are going to have to level up your safe house or your depot, depending. I think the very first slot is level 2, and then after that you have to be level 4 for the second improvement slot. So, it's going to take you some time to get to that second improvement slot, that's for sure. Another noticeable improvement on the last update as well is our safe house. Look how fancy swanky it looks. It's just a small touch and something that really didn't need to be touched at all, but I think our safe house looks absolutely amazing. I think it looks pretty suave. Unexpected update, and it's a nice one as well. Along with the free update, we also got a number of free extra little missions that popped up, in-game events. This is one that popped up for me, offering me 15 cash for taking out another gang leader. It's a small touch, but another welcomed one. And talking about welcomed additions, Trinket slot can be finally used. This is insane. We can now equip a Trinket and body armor. That's very overpowered. I personally have asked for that to be changed since day one. I know that many other people have as well. So I think just the fact that the Trinket slot finally got fixed or became usable is such a big thing with this update. It's just the small things like this that just help us play the game and just really enjoy it. And that way, all of those extra little things that we always see in the black market or always manage to acquire, we can finally use. So it adds a little bit more to our playstyle. But guys, that is it for the end of this video. If I've missed anything that came with the free update precincts, let me know down in the comments, because I'm sure there's extra things that have changed that I wasn't able to find today. Unfortunately, I haven't managed to find a full patch notes list. I'm sure one does exist somewhere. However, I have checked Discord, I've checked Twitter, and unfortunately, I cannot find patch notes for this update. But yeah, so that's my general thoughts on the precincts. I'm going to be doing one for Make It Count as well. I hope you've been enjoying this update though. If you haven't, then do check it out. But until next time, guys, take it easy, and I'll see you later.